A few years ago, in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains near Bristol, Tennessee, a brand new preacher named Tim Hope arrived at his first church assignment. Just 25 years old, and as city slicker as they come, from Louisville, Kentucky, he pulled up to the quaint little country church with dreams of delivering inspirational sermons and leading a flock of adoring Christians. Little did he know a real sermon would come from meeting a big, mean, red and black rooster named Rufus, who took an instant dislike to the new preacher across the fence. Tim was red-haired, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed, filled with enthusiasm. As he stepped out of his car on that first crisp Sunday morning, he glanced around the property and seen a serene, small graveyard beside the church, and he was admiring some of the peaceful old tombstones. This is it, he thought, is a place of worship and tranquility. But just as he was about to take a deep breath and embrace all the rural beauty and charm, Rufus the rooster spotted Pastor Tim from the adjoining barnyard. With his feathers fluffed and a glare in his eyes that could cut glass, the rooster clucked like it was the day of battle. Pastor Tim had barely taken 2 steps towards the church front door when Rufus charged at him like a feathered freight train. Believe me, the chase was on as he dashed around the church and back across the parking lot. Twice, Pastor Tim found himself in the church's graveyard, weaving in and out between the old tombstones and pine trees. He was wondering if this was how his ministry and maybe his life would suddenly end. He could imagine his tombstone reading, "Here lies Pastor Tim Hope, defeated in battle by a big red and black rooster." But Rufus wasn't just chasing Pastor Tim. He was on a mission to win this day of battle and making a clucking noise that could wake the dead. Really, is this how it all ends? Pastor Tim turned to see Rufus gaining even more ground, squawking in victory, as if he were the reigning world champion of the barnyard and now also the church property. In a moment of sheer panic, Pastor Tim spotted a rickety old small outhouse, toilet, at the edge of the property. Desperate times, he thought, required desperate actions and without a second to lose. This sure was a terrible place to hide. Once inside the cramped, smelly sanctuary of the outhouse, Pastor Tim slammed the door shut just in the nick of time. He leaned against the wooden walls, his heart was racing and breathing faster. "Okay, Tim," he muttered to himself, "you gotta do something." This was definitely not in the pastor's job description. Just then, he heard a loud, triumphant cluck. Outside. Rufus was pacing around the outhouse like a jailer guarding his prisoner, determined to remind Pastor Tim who was really in charge around this neck of the woods. The new pastor's pleas for help were muffled by the walls of the outhouse. "Can someone please come and help me? I promised to preach a sermon about being kind to animals, or at least write a song about getting chased by a rooster." He could hear the sounds of the church members arriving, their laughter mixed with Rufus's relentless clucking. "If I don't get out of here soon, I'm going to be known as Pastor Tim Hope, the preacher who was defeated by a crazy, wild red and black rooster." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Pastor Tim heard the door slowly creak open. It was the church's oldest member, Mrs. Jenkins, wielding a broom like a knight with a sword. "What in the world is going on in there?" she demanded, catching sight of the panic-stricken new Pastor Tim. "Are you fighting with the devil, a demon, or just having a little trouble with Rufus?" With one swift flick, she scared Rufus away, and Pastor Tim emerged from the outhouse shaken but looking somehow triumphant. "I was just, trying to connect with the local wildlife," he exclaimed, laughing along with the congregation. From that day on, Pastor Tim learned that in the country, you never underestimate any farm creature, especially a rooster with a chip on its shoulder for pastors. And as for Rufus, well, let's just say they eventually made a truce. Pastor Tim even managed to work a Rufus the Rooster story into one of his sermons, much to the delight of his flock. After all, if you can survive a rooster chase, you can survive almost anything. I hope you have enjoyed this funny story. It never happened except in my mind. "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine." Proverbs 17, verse 22a KJV. Thanks for watching my videos. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe or follow. And don't forget to click that notification bell. This is Pastor Mac Johnson. May Jesus bless and keep you in his care. Amen.